We're back again. My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We're looking forward to more cricket, more conversation. And today it's a clash between Delhi and Rajasthan. Blue taking on pink. We've talked up this clash a little bit, but let's just confirm it's match number 30. In a sense, we're on the home stretch. We've passed the halfway mark and we're already starting to look at repeat fixtures. Let's quickly remind you at the very top that it's the Delhi captain, Shreyas Iyer, who won the toss. And now going with the new trend, the new age trend almost of batting first. Whether or not it pays off, we shall see. It's still teams batting first who are winning more matches than they are losing. In terms of team news, let's just go straight to the lineups and find out what the two teams have done. And here we go, having a look at the Delhi playing 11 first. And we're seeing a first look at Tushar Deshpande, who comes in for Harshal Patel. So that's the one change that Delhi have made. And as far as the opposition are concerned, Rajasthan, an unchanged side. Steve Smith, unequivocal, saying same team, keeping confidence in his players. The one big question, we've put Robin Uthappa up there. We certainly hope to see that that's where he'll end up playing. Let me give a quick welcome to Harsha Bhogle and Joy Bhattacharjya, the usual suspects. It's good to have us running. That's 3 in a row, gentlemen. Welcome.
3 suspects?
3 suspects and 3 days in a row.
3 days in a row. Yeah, I mean, I liked the confidence with which he said, or the glee with which he said, no changes. Because I thought, I mean, Rajasthan, when do Rajasthan go in with no changes? They're not as bad as Kings, who are coming to the limit of their number of replacements allowed. But it's good to see. I think the Royals have now finally got to the team they would have liked to start with. Maybe just a little bit here and there. That's it. But the overseas players are in there. The spinners are in there. The kind of quicks they want are in there. The tracks are slowing up. So they're quicker bowlers who are happier bowling on slower tracks. It seems like a team more in place now than it was at the start of the tournament.
And Joy, it's going to be 20 overs till we actually find out who opens the batting for them. It might just depend on the kind of score they're chasing. But very cheekily, that last question was slipped into Steve Smith. Will Ben Stokes open the batting?
Yeah, I think what he seemed to indicate was that he will open the batting. If he does, it just sounds like a bit of an anomaly to me. I wouldn't know why they do it. And as far as the Rajasthan team, the reason they have stopped making changes is that, on Twitter, we've been receiving news that Gautam's not changing his shirts anymore. So Steve Smith says, if Gautam doesn't change, how can we? That's where it all comes from. And I think that's the reason for it all.
Okay. Well, I guess it's getting a little too familiar.
Don't change it now. But just wait for the program to get over.
Whether or not anyone changes their shirt, I have to tell you, please, you have to change your team. It doesn't work. You cannot use the same team the next day. So just in case you're new to this, get onto My 11 Circle, download the app. Most of you have it anyway. If you already have the app, here's a reminder. Just get on, get your team, captain, vice captain, keep a close eye on what the other is doing with his team. And you're all set for today's game between Delhi and Rajasthan.
By the way, I have a question. I saw this tweet that came up, Gautam, and I think it refers to you as well. So, I mean, people want to ask you, so I might ask you this question as well. How do you update your My 11 Circle team? Because the squads are announced at 7 p.m. and your Cricbuzz live show starts at 7 p.m. How do you manage it?
Well, there you go. We've got to let out a few secrets there. So what happens is if I've got a team that I'm happy with, I keep the conversation going. If not, I try and throw some kind of a googly at both Harsha and Joy so they can have a conversation. You won't see me for about 15 seconds. And that's when I will quickly go and make my last minute changes, captain, vice captain, and then come back as if nothing had happened.
No, that's not true. I know what the real thing is. The real thing is you call up the producer and say, can I have my good friends Michael Slater or Mark Nicholas doing the toss? Because then the toss will get slightly longer and I have enough time to make my changes.
Yeah,
actually, when I meet Mark, Slats has gone back. But when I meet Mark, I'll tell him that you have no idea how much you're helping people like Gautam.
Yes, today it helped. We had Mark at the toss and I managed to get my team. It's all in place. So I won't be disappearing, folks, whether you like it or not. So thank you for that question, and let's go back
But
to the match.
I know we'll get down to the players, and this is a program, is a preview. But does your captain and vice captain know that they are your captain and vice captain? I mean, do they know the burden they have to carry today?
Well, given how much pressure I put on myself, I'm not mentioning it at the moment who my captain and vice captain are. By the mid-show, I'll let you know. I promise you.
Okay, more interesting stuff. More interesting stuff was we saw Rishabh Pant jogging around up and down. If they said it's a grade 1 tear, why is he jogging up and down? Or is it not a tear that it's not as bad as they thought it was? Because it clearly looked like it was a fitness test going on. So maybe that's good news. Maybe he doesn't need to be out for as long as Delhi initially thought. So that'd be good news for them. He's not playing today, but that'll be good news. The earlier he comes back, the better.
It certainly will be, and you could see when Shreyas Iyer was asked about that, how much you miss him. He didn't sort of hold back and say, no, it's okay, we are fine. He just said, listen, of course we miss him, but we've got people who are replacements. So looks like from his body language, they're really keen to have him back, Joy.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, Rishabh is one of those players which is funny because he gets out and plays some awkward shots and people say that he's wasting his talent. Again, you look at his record, 1150 is the kind of match-winning knocks he's done. The strike rate that he bats at, the average about 36, 37 at a strike rate of 150. He's an exceptional player. And I feel he has a burden a bit like what Rohit Sharma had in his early days. Just because he looked so elegant hitting the ball, Rohit Sharma would get out, people would say, you know what, he's throwing away his wicket. And I think Rohit's obviously a much more elegant player than Rishabh, but I think Rishabh gets called for the same thing, that you're throwing away your wicket. And that's not strictly true. He's playing the way he plays and he plays very hard. So I think the players on the ground, they understand how valuable Rishabh is to them. And they'll be desperate because it's changed their composition, as Harsha was talking about. Hetmyer is out. All the confidence that they built up on Hetmyer has gone to waste because he's going to be sitting out till as Carey has to play for the keeper. And it's a bit of a sort of, not a full stop for Delhi, but a sort of semicolon there they would be happy to avoid.
But all they need now is for Ajinkya Rahane and Alex Carey to score 50s today to have the most beautiful problem.
That would be, I mean, putting everything, but I'm sure it's a situation just like we've seen before. We've seen it with David Miller. No matter what Alex Carey does, once Pant is ready to come back, I think they'll get that combination set in. But the good news for Delhi is that one of the boxes that weren't ticked early in the tournament, particularly that first game that we remember, wickets falling early, Shikhar Dhawan back in form. Yes, we qualified that with a rider saying may not be his quickest innings, but certainly it was a step in the right direction, Harsha.
Yes, but if you look at those numbers there, 125 strike rate, it's very rare that Shikhar goes at a strike rate of 140, 145. So this is a role he is most comfortable playing. The side has now got to say, is everybody comfortable with this role that you're playing? Or is this role putting a little bit of pressure on some other people? Is it putting pressure on, say, Rahane at 3? Because Prithvi will continue playing the way he does. Or do you say, no, Shikhar, you're important for us. This is your role. And if you can play a role, that's good enough for us. And I think, he made 500 runs batting in a similar way last year. So I'd venture to say they're comfortable with Shikhar batting like this. But that 125, on a day like today, if this is, say, a 160 game, right? 160 is a 133 strike rate game. If this is a 133 strike rate game and Shikhar bats 40, 45 balls at a strike rate of 125, then that's not bad at all because you ensure that you're not losing too many wickets. That strike rate becomes a problem if you're starting to play a 180, 185 game. Then your opener batting 1/3 the balls of 125 is a problem.
Given how well Delhi are doing, is it blasphemous even to think of pushing Ajinkya Rahane up the order, Joy?
Look, I think, why would you push him up the order? One is you get a left-right with Shikhar and Prithvi. Secondly, Prithvi is, as Harsha said very succinctly, Prithvi will attack no matter what. Whatever the conditions, Prithvi will attack. That's the way he knows how to play the game. So putting him out there, you are in a situation where you could easily have 19 for no loss in 4 overs, 4.5 overs. That's something they want to avoid. Remember one more thing, no matter how good a batsman or how selfless a batsman, and I know he's selfless, Ajinkya Rahane is, it's not easy to go out there and just blaze away for the team alone. You are, in the back of your mind, you know that you're going to get limited chances. You need to make the best of it. So, you are paying under some amount of pressure. And we know how much of a difference it makes. The whole difference of how Sam Curran played and somebody else like a Faf played because they had more responsibility is very, very different. And therefore, Ajinkya Rahane right now opening, I don't think is a good idea for Delhi.
Well, we've been having a lot of questions coming in for both sides, but because Delhi are batting first, we've picked one that is a little relevant to the Delhi opening slot. And let's have a look at the question that's come in on hashtag Ask Cricbuzz Live. What can Prithvi Shaw do to become a more consistent player, asks Nikunj Ketan. I think it's one of those questions we've had, particularly if you saw him in game one. That's that one word you'd want from him: consistency.
Yeah, but consistency becomes a more important factor the longer the game is. In this kind of format, if you're playing 7 batsmen over 20 overs, then you give your side a great start in, say, out of the 14 games, you give your side a great start in 6 games, then very often you're doing okay. But yeah, of course, you want Prithvi to be more consistent. I think consistency comes out of shot selection, out of knowing exactly which ball to play which shot on. And once again, it depends, I think, on what Ricky Ponting has told him. If Ponting has told him, listen, just watch out, wait for the ball to hit, then that's a different story. Or if Ponting had said, playing this way has brought you so far, and if you come off, don't give me a 25. Don't give me a 25 in 16 balls. If you're hitting it well, give me a 65, 70 that will win us the game. And if that is the case, then I think he's fine the way he is. I just think he needs to convert those starts into longer ones rather than not getting the starts. Once he gets a start, go and make it a match-winning innings. But I'm a little concerned about his general athleticism. I don't know about the stamina because I don't know him well at all. But I see his athleticism on the field, and I wonder if that could be a factor to playing long innings. But listen, it's conjecture. He's played long innings before, so maybe we're just searching for reasons.
Yeah, he's a bit of a character in that sense. I mean, we say that about most of the players, but Prithvi in particular, he's almost impetuous. He's the first person who will go, say, to a cameraman and say, "Can I have a look at your camera and try it out?" He'll do different things, but
with an extraordinary talent as well.
Sorry?
He's an extraordinary talent as well.
Oh, absolutely, he is, and sometimes it's those characters that end up doing that. But let's have a look at some numbers, Joy, to see if we can back up what we're saying. Try and answer that particular question. This is his scores of 50 and more 6 times: 25 to 49, 15 to 24. So I guess he'll be looking to have more and more scores in that 25 plus range, and that's exactly what Harsha was saying.
Exactly. Saurav used to say this all the time in KKR, and that's one thing he understood. He said, look, in T20, not every batsman will get a start because you'll hit a good ball or you'll try and play a stroke early and you'll go. If you've survived 7-10 balls, make it count. You can only get angry at a player if they sort of survive those 7, 8, 10 balls and make it count. And that's it. So the 16 where he gets out early, you can discount. That's going to happen to any batsman. But the ones where he's got to 15 and 24 and 25 to 49, those are the ones he'll look at and say, can I have a better percentage in those? And I think that's exactly the point. If you get a start, make it count. See, the other thing is, you can't really change Prithvi. It's like, the reason why at 295, you will still have somebody like a Sehwag trying to hit a 6. They are what they are. If you take away their impetuousness, you also take away their ability to hit almost anyone. So breathless hitting comes with a certain amount of recklessness, because you can't have somebody be totally controlled and yet be so spontaneous. So, I think somebody like a Ricky Ponting is very good at all this.
Yeah.
He understands players like this.
But is there a subtle difference?
What would be interesting as well. Yeah. So go on.
Impetuous and recklessness?
Yeah, he's a young man. He's a young man. He's seen a lot in life already. What I would like to see in that breakup is number of balls per innings as well. Rather than number of runs per innings, number of balls per innings. Because I think if Prithvi tells himself, I have to play 40 balls, or if I play 35 balls, chances are he scored 55, 60. If in 40 balls he scored 60, he's giving a strike rate 150, which for an opener is absolutely fine. So if he tells himself, I have to play 30 plus deliveries, then in those 30 plus, he's almost certain to give you a half century. So rather than saying, I must score 50, I think he was telling you have to play 30 balls. Because unlike Dhawan plays 30 balls, he might be 37, 38 as well, because that's his style. But if Prithvi plays 30 balls, he's probably going to give you 45, 48 runs.
Yeah, so I think you make a good point, Harsha, and what we'll do is, and it's a promise to all of you who are watching out there, is we'll update Prithvi's numbers based on his performance in today's innings, and then try and put it into perspective at the end of the innings and see if he had improvement and what it means to us. But somebody who comes just after Prithvi in the batting order, leads the side in more senses than one. He is our feature on today's Boost Stamina Meter. We often tend to feature some of the leaders because of the extra role they have, the extra responsibility they have as captain of the side. Young captain Shreyas Iyer in fourth place with a stamina score of 81.5. And if you see the other parameters in which we are looking at him, is overall rating 81.5. Average stay at the pitch this season, 49 balls. Has been on strike for 51% of his time at the pitch. And his running between the wickets, 53.8% of his time at the pitch. Also, of course, he tends to put himself in more hotspots than others. And of course, as we mentioned, the leadership role as a young captain, Harsha. And I think that's the important part. We've got some of the veterans in MS Dhoni in this, but for Shreyas Iyer, a young captain means added responsibility.
Yeah. And I think Delhi is preparing him for India. And I think that's a very good sign. Delhi is probably preparing him for India by making him a little more versatile, throwing him in different situations as captain, forcing him to read situations. I know that initially the role of the coach will be far greater because of who the coach is, but slowly the captain will have to start doing it himself, and I think he's doing it. So my feeling is that Delhi is preparing a player even more so for India than ever before. I like the fact, look, Ajinkya Rahane has come in at 3. Shreyas is happy batting at 3, he's happy batting at 4. Which is his best number? I don't know, because I think he's equally good at both. So if he comes in at 4, what I would like to see is Shreyas coming at 4 and then batting till the 18th over and then see what he can achieve. But he is a bit, to that extent, when I was making that mid-season team, I was in a quandary. Like Surya Kumar Yadav, if he makes 30, you'll remember those 30 runs because he's such a stylish player to watch. He's such a good-looking player to watch that, this side is a very attractive batting side.
It's a good comparison, Joy, between Surya Kumar Yadav and Shreyas Iyer. But like for like, if you see him this season, I think you'll probably see Surya Kumar has come up with more of the 70s and 80s type scores than Shreyas Iyer would have liked to have. Though Shreyas is helped by the fact that overall his team and his batting order have propped him up.
Absolutely. One of the things that I love about this Boost Stamina Meter is just showing how many balls is their average stay at the crease. Because, we always see the number of balls they faced. But the average stay of the crease tells you how long are they in the middle to actually influence the game. And that 49, 8 overs on an average is not a bad average. He's staying around. I think what Shreyas is having is just a little bit of what you see on a far more severe scale with Lokesh Rahul, which is the fact that there is a burden of captaincy. Whether you like it or not, if you're 21, 22, 25, you are going to feel the burden of leading an IPL team. It's a huge responsibility. And I think Shreyas is handling it. I mean, Rahul hasn't had the results go his way. I think Shreyas is handling it well, but it is definitely something that is tempering his play. I think Shreyas can hit the ball as well as anyone in this game. He's just holding himself a wee bit back because he says, you know what, I need to see my team through. And fortunately, most of the time, his team is doing enough for him having to just do what he has to do and not go totally reckless. But I can feel that Shreyas he's not a carefree child anymore. He's a captain of an IPL franchise, and that's a big, big one.
That's huge, yeah. He's actually scored more runs than Surya Kumar Yadav. He scored 12 runs more than Surya Kumar Yadav. See the advantage of keeping the app, open while the program is on. There's so much you can do on the Cricbuzz app.
Yeah, well, I'm torn between Harsha keeping the Cricbuzz app open and switching to the My 11 Circle app because I have to update my team. So that's another giveaway. So sometimes if I'm not on the app, that's the reason why. So well spotted, Harsha. You've got one on me in terms of the number of runs. It's again, I think it's given us something to follow. Let's continue to follow Surya Kumar versus Shreyas, and we'll see where we get in the end. But
if anything, I think Surya Kumar Yadav is a little more eye-catching. I think that's why you notice, because of the shots he's playing, because of the evolution. You've now seen Shreyas for a while. You're seeing Surya Kumar Yadav come up, even though he's older. You're seeing him make the transition up, and he's a little more eye-catching, which is a thing in itself because Shreyas is a very attractive batsman.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, again, very quickly, the two of them were rival captains in the Mumbai T20 League. And that's when you saw a different side to Surya Kumar Yadav. He actually seemed to enjoy captaincy even more than Shreyas Iyer did. So maybe...
And there's a change that's come about. Surya Kumar Yadav has had a tempestuous few years. in and out of the Mumbai side, questions asked about his attitude, about his behavior. And I think in the last 2 or 3 years, we're seeing a different person. He's calmer, he's playing the longer innings, he's a little more stable. And I think this could well be the making of him. But we'll talk about him in a Mumbai game. This is more a Delhi game, sir.
It certainly is. And let's continue to focus on Delhi because we were looking for our My 11 Circle trump card. Yes, we keep coming back to that. And today we've picked on someone who will contribute with bat and with ball, often picks up the odd catch to give you those valuable points. And this is what Akshar Patel has done so far. 6 wickets he's taken, maybe not had enough opportunity with the bat, which is not necessarily his fault. His team has been doing well enough. 3 catches held, 1 run out. All those count at the end. So if you want a trump card and you haven't picked him in your side, it's a good person to have him there. Even sometimes to sneak him as captain or vice captain to get those double points. Not giving away my team yet, by the way, in case you were wondering. But certainly, Joy is someone who does provide an asset for the Delhi side, Akshar Patel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you see Delhi's pattern, they have a very nice bowling pattern now. They'll go 2 overs from Rabada and Nortje, and then go Ashwin 1, Akshar 1, bring in their 2 spinners early, then bowl them a bit, bring back the fast ball, bring Rabada in for 1. So they've sorted the way they go about this very well. And I think Akshar is an essential part of that. You know, he's been told that if you're going to take Amit Mishra's place, you've got to bowl in the power play. And Akshar has been a terrific performer for India as well. He's a very, very smart cricketer. More than anything else, you know, turning the ball, everything else comes later. He's a very, very sharp cricketer. He knows what he needs to do for his team to win.
Yep, and being a good Gujarati, he doesn't give anything away when it comes to giving.
Listen, but he's got an economy rate under 5, doesn't he? That puts in a very, very small league. His economy rate is around 5. Last I checked, it was only Akshar, Washington Sundar and Rashid Khan, who's probably now gone a little over after yesterday's game. Can you imagine having a bowler? He's given 4 overs 14, he's done 4 overs 18. You have a bowler like that, he's gold dust. And that 28 runs includes an innings of 17 and 8 balls, I think, towards the end when he got an opportunity. So, I think if Amit Mishra was around, I'd still play Akshar Patel. I'd tell Amit come in as a third spinner, unless you really have a side that's got an issue playing leg spin bowling.
Certainly has, but throughout this tournament, one trend that we've noticed, and it continues, is the class quick bowlers have made an impact. And what a rivalry we have today. One side, Kagiso Rabada, the other side, Jofra Archer. Well, since Rajasthan are going to be bowling first, we're going to focus a little bit more on the Rajasthan pace bowlers, but have a look at pace bowling in the tournament so far. And we can see 20 wickets with that economy for Rajasthan. Delhi right up there with 35 wickets because it's not just Rabada, you've got Nokia as well, with they hunt in pairs.
No, absolutely. And I think one of the things that you look at is exactly that. You know, when I was looking at Tushar Deshpande and saying, why are they playing him? And I think it's very clear what Ricky Ponting is doing out here. He's saying, I want to have bowlers, everyone who bowls, if you're going to face a pace bowler, you're going to get him at a 140 plus. You're not going to get, if he goes, he goes. But all these bowlers now, and Tushar is known not particularly, you know, too much movement in the ball, but he's known as an express fast bowler. I mean, that's what he burst into the scene for. And that's what Ricky Ponting is clearly saying that, you know what, if you're going to hit my fast bowlers, you're going to earn it. Because you're going to hit them at 142, 145. If you can hit them then and get your runs, so be it. And that's interesting. He has given away that medium pacer totally. He's saying, if I have to have a medium pacer, it's Stoinis who will come in and bowl a few overs if necessary. But I am going quick with a vengeance if I can afford it. And that's interesting. It's a positive way of looking at it.
Well, Tushar Deshpande will have 20 overs to think about what he's going to do. For the moment, let's focus on Jofra Archer and his band of merry men. And how does Jofra stack up against the rest of the other quick bowlers as far as Rajasthan is concerned? And, well, that sort of tells the story. 9 wickets for Jofra, 11 for all the other quicks, 6.82, the economy for Jofra Archer versus 10.45. So maybe one little area that they need to work on.
That difference has to come down. And it has to come down not by Archer growing, but by the others coming down. And I think as the tracks slow down, the Rajasthan Royals seam bowlers, like like Unadkat, are very different from what Delhi are picking. So if it grips a little bit, Unadkat becomes a better bowler. But it is true. I mean, If I was a Rajasthan captain, I'd be like an inter-school captain who's got two bowlers, each of whom bowls 10 overs, 20 overs in a game. I'd want Jofra Archer to bowl all through. He has been magnificent. And because he's had to bowl all the difficult overs and with very little support, his numbers are looking different. But I love watching him bowl. How easily has he gone past 150 in this tournament? So he's a big factor.
Yep, and I think the support for him will be important today. Quick reminder, in case you've just tuned in now, it's Delhi batting first, and we've got just a few minutes on this conversation left. So let's straight get to our quiz question of the day. About 150 k's an hour, Joy, today?
Yeah, no. Easy. Not easy, but yeah, interesting. Let's see. Stephen Fleming, Dominic Cork, a Cricbuzz panelist, Henry Olonga, Michael Kasparovich, Khalid Mashood, Said Russell, and another Cricbuzz panelist are all members of which club? Club, I mean in the word loosely, which is definitely in the news nowadays. Interesting list.
Two Cricbuzz panelists we're talking about.
Two Cricbuzz panelists. And okay, I'm going to make it easier. One in English, one in Hindi. I'm not necessarily on today, but on during the IPL.
Fair enough. That's fascinating. Interesting question. Keep an eye on that. And of course, you can get onto the site. It's all going to be there. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live. Get your answers in and get your answers in quickly. We also have one more little contest that we have between the three of us, that I am in a distant third place. So hopefully I can start correcting that. Harsha, Joy, the My 11 Circle badge of honor. What's it going to be now? It's Delhi versus Rajasthan. Delhi deciding to bat first. Jofra Archer up at the other end. What's it going to be? Are we looking at a middling type total? Joy, would you like to go first?
161.
169.
Oh, 161, 169. Why not a little bit harder or higher? 179. 179.
Okay.
Which means it'll probably be 130, but never mind. I'm sticking to my guns for a change, and let's see if I can win that. And of course, I'm not letting anything out about my team. You shall find out all about that in the mid-show. But even before that, we promise to be back, as we always do, on Cricbuzz Combox in the 10th over. And then this three-way conversation will continue with lots more merriment, lots more ribbing, lots more secrets to be let out. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Harsha. We'll see you in the 10th over. And this has been My 11 Circle Presents Cricbuzz Live.